Why don't we start with a piece of non-draft? Oh, I guess you could tie it into the draft. I'm sure you could figure out a way to do it. And non-win total. But I guess you could kind of like tie this into a win total thought as well. And that is the transaction last night on Sunday night of Odell Beckham signing with the Baltimore Ravens, which the timing was really interesting. The report was that Beckham was going to meet with the Jets today on Monday, and they were going to try to finagle a way to get him in to play with Aaron Rodgers once that trade eventually happens. And then the Ravens were like, actually, no, you're going to sign with us. We're going to give you $15 million guaranteed for a guy who hasn't played since the Super Bowl last year, missed all of last season, getting a little long in the tooth, got $15 million guaranteed, a one-year deal worth up to $18 million. And I think the thing that's most interesting here is the Baltimore Ravens tweeting out a picture of a FaceTime between Odell Beckham and Lamar Jackson. Although Lamar is obviously not under contract for Baltimore. I mean, they franchise tagged him, but still trying to work something out. Or maybe he'll be playing elsewhere next year. But now the conspiracy theorists are saying, well, Lamar's definitely going to be back now. They signed Beckham for this reason. Beckham wouldn't come to Baltimore without knowing Lamar's going to be there. The Ravens official Twitter posted the picture. Something's got to be up. Does it? I mean, maybe. Will, what do you think of Odell Beckham signing with the Baltimore Ravens?
I mean, look, I understand that he's a big name. He made some great catches with the Giants. He was a huge deal when he was traded from the Giants to the Browns. He helped the Rams to win a Super Bowl. Big deal. Big name. But my God, people, give it a rest. This is a mid-tier wide receiver who somehow got $15 million for the Ravens. Like, I cannot handle Odell Beckham watch anymore. It's just too much. Like, what? Why are we spending our time focused on Odell Beckham in a manner that makes it act like he's Jerry Rice in the middle of his prime? Can we please, for the love of all that is holy, dial it back a bit on the Odell Beckham stuff now that he is, and actually, I guess now that he's actually signed with the Ravens, the fact that they FaceTimed does make it kind of important, because if he convinces Lamar Jackson to come back to the Ravens and play on that franchise tag, or if he somehow is the reason Lamar Jackson is willing to agree to a contract with the Ravens, then I take it all back and shove it in my face. Odell Beckham was worth the hype. Otherwise, I mean, like, I just don't think it's that beautiful. Although I do think if he does, if this helps Lamar come back or makes it easier for Lamar to, take the L and just come play on the tag, which seems like he's going to have to do, then you can make the case that it does affect the draft, because now the Colts not going to be throwing an offer sheet at Lamar, not going to be trying to get him. We can sort of figure out what the Ravens are going to do. Maybe they want to get a wide receiver too, try and throw, Lamar another bone. And in the terms of the win total market, I don't know that it's going to drastically move, the Bengals down to like 11 or 10.5 or anything like that. But I do think that the Odell Beckham signing, at the very least, can sort of give you an inclination, based on the fact that he and Lamar FaceTimed right afterwards.
By the way, this is new information here, and I just want to jump in with this here, because this has happened recently here. This is all developing in real time right now. It's 5:05 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. For people that are listening in podcast form, this is all happening in real time right now. Ian Rappaport of NFL Media saying this afternoon, Lamar actively recruited Beckham and plans to be throwing passes to Beckham. So apparently, this is Lamar feels like he's going to be a Raven next year. Now, we don't know if that means this is going to be a long-term deal. He's going to get the guaranteed money he's looking for. Or, like you said, Will, he's just going to, take the L. I'd like to take that L. $30 million a year on the franchise tag. Hell of an L to take. But if he does quote-unquote, take the L and play on the tag, at least for this year, it seems like Rappaport's saying that Lamar is going to be back in Baltimore next year. It is worth noting, and you and I touched base on this on the phone this morning prior to all of this other news coming out that Rappaport put out there. Is there going to be a change in the Ravens win total at all? And the win total remains the same right now. It's 8.5. It was minus 120. It's up to minus 140 right now. Again, not like a seismic move, but I think it just probably
pretty sizable.
It just speaks to optimism here that I think Lamar is going to be the quarterback next year for the Baltimore Ravens.
I think that if you like the Ravens roster and you were just on the fence and waiting for Lamar, you're going to see a 9.5 when it finally closes, or once Lamar finally signs a franchise tag. If we believe that this, and look, I mean, Lamar, we aren't getting this freaking Instagram shot of Lamar and Odell talking if this doesn't dramatically improve Lamar's interest in playing for the Ravens in 2023. Like they're not putting this out there that they FaceTimed if it's not like an actual import. So, while I may like launch on a tirade about Odell that I believe in, like I think it's been way overhyped for the last, ever since he, was injured in the Super Bowl that the Rams won. Like,
he's a good player though, and he's instantly the best. Is he already the best receiver on the Ravens? Like, he's better than Rashad Bateman, right?
Yeah, I mean, not best pass catcher, but yeah, best receiver.
Well, I understand. Like, Mark Andrews is awesome, but they don't play the same position. But I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Odell Beckham, very good player. I'm just saying that, like, we spent, it's just what it was really more than anything, the entirety of last season, where it's like, Odell to the Cowboys, more on the news at 6. It's like, I don't need it anymore. When they sign him, then we can have more. I don't need to hear the latest buzz about Odell Beckham. I just don't need it.
You're very triggered by this, but that being said, like, he's going to be good for the Ravens this year with Lamar Jackson, right?
Sure, you would think so, but I mean, you're also talking about Todd Monken's system is going to be more vertical, I would think, but you're also talking about you look at what they did at Georgia. I mean, this is going to be a run heavy shot play system. I would guess, I would surmise, and is there like Odell Beckham if he's old school, if he's Odell. Can he be a threat downfield? Yeah. Can he be a guy that you hit on slants and he takes it to the house? Absolutely. Does he make them better? For sure. Did they overpay for him? Yes. Am I annoyed by all the entire year-long incessant Odell Beckham signing somewhere? Yes, absolutely. Now, separating those two things, if you want to back the Ravens, and I think there's a meaningful reason to back the Ravens now, it's about as good a time as you can get. I would guess that this gets to 9.5. And I think that the Ravens are probably a decent value to win the division too. The Bengals are still the best team fundamentally in the division. The Browns, it depends on Deshaun Watson. There's just a lot of unknowns in the AFC North right now. From Lamar to Deshaun Watson to Kenny Pickett.
We'll do a little Steelers in a second here. You better hear with Nick and Will in for Ken Barkley here on a magnificent Monday, talking the Odell Beckham signing by the Baltimore Ravens and what it means for Lamar Jackson and what it means for the Ravens win total. So you're pretty plugged in with the NFL, Will, and I'm not going to ask you this question for you to answer in pen to say that you know something for sure, because I don't think any of us know what's going to happen here. Like, what do you think the percent chance is now with Beckham signing, the FaceTime picture that the Ravens Twitter account posts, coupled with the Ian Rappaport statement that Lamar is expecting to be the one throwing passes to Beckham next year? Now, again, nothing's a guarantee, so I'm not asking you to sign this in blood. What do you think the percent chance is Lamar Jackson is back as the quarterback next year of the Baltimore Ravens?
I think I probably would have been 50-50 before the signing and the FaceTime and the report. I think it's 75-80, 75-25, 80-20 now. And I mean, that's probably conservative too. I mean,
and 8.5's a great bet on the over with this coach and this quarterback. They win tons of games whenever when Lamar's healthy and Harbaugh's the coach, this team wins. They win even when Lamar's not the quarterback. They still win games.
You look at it. You got some offensive line help, or at least you got a good offensive line. There's a lot of pieces on defense to even if they need to find a pass rush and improve that. Roquan Smith was a revelation when he came over midseason last year. I mean, that defense transformed overnight when they got Roquan Smith. So there's reason to believe if you find some more pass rush help, or some of these younger guys who they've drafted that haven't really necessarily panned out the way that they wanted, they take a step forward. This could be an elite. Not an elite. Well, this could be a top 10 defense. That's not out of the question. And if they're a top 10 defense and they have a good run game, and Lamar's got Odell and Rashad Bateman and has Mark Andrews, obviously, then you're talking about an offense like Todd Monken's offense is at Georgia. And I understand it's a different beast going to the NFL, but this is a guy
offense with the Browns too, right? He was the Browns coordinator when Beckham had his awesome year at the Browns.
I believe that is correct. Yeah, I mean, there's reason to believe that Todd Monken is a good, very, very good offensive coordinator. And I have no reason to believe that he won't have a good system in place with the Ravens that features a lot of running the ball, a lot of misdirection using Lamar, getting Lamar's, Todd, you said Todd Monken too, as Tyler points out to us. Who did I say he was? Todd Monken. He was with Tampa. Todd Monken was with Tampa Bay. Right. I buy into Todd Monken. I think that the Greg Roman stuff had gotten a little stale. I think sometimes you just need to mix up the coordinators, and we could definitely see a situation where, we have a top 15 offense and top 15 defense with the Ravens. If that's the case, minus 122 to reach the playoffs, as you see on the screen right now at BetMGM, way too cheap. 8.5, way too cheap because that's just 500 basically. And 3.5 to 1 to win the division, not a crazy number at all, given all the stuff that's going on elsewhere in the AFC North.
Yeah, so what I'm struggling with right now is, okay, if Lamar and like the division price I think you're right about that. If the numbers right now, if Lamar is going to be there to make the playoffs, I don't love as much just because like they could go 9-8 or 10-7 and like still potentially not make it. But as far as the win total goes, okay. If let's say Lamar is the quarterback, and again, I think I agree with you, and also like Lamar represents himself. He's the one that makes the decision. He's recruiting Beckham. He has the FaceTime with Beckham. Ian Rappaport doesn't like make this stuff up. Like there are people that make stuff up. Like Ian Rappaport works for the NFL. Ian Rappaport is not one of those people. So I'm sure like this is on good authority.
He's hearing hearing somebody from the Ravens or somebody from Odell Beckham's camp that is telling him, or maybe both, that is saying, look,
or Lamar. I have no idea.
Probably not, but
basically, if Lamar is the Ravens quarterback next year, how do you lose? Well, I guess the answer is like he tears his ACL in like training camp, right? Like how do you lose barring like an injury that any team, like Mahomes could get hurt and miss the season and you lose your Chiefs over, right? Barring like a cataclysmic event like that, how does Ravens over 8.5 lose? Like with this, I get like the division's good, like Pickett could be really good, and the Browns could win 15 games potentially. That's their upside, and the Bengals are still there, and the conference is awesome. I don't know. 8.5. If you knew Lamar was the quarterback, that's a smash over spot, right?
Especially Nick, when you look at their two cross division matchups, which are the NFC West, featuring the Arizona Cardinals, Seattle Seahawks. I mean, the teams in there, but I mean, like the NFC West has major questions with every team. The Ravens could go 4-0 against the NFC West, and that would not be that crazy.